Hello and welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. I'm Naomi. Hope you're doing okay today. Right, so I've been watching the Sean Atwood channel and I saw a guy called Jonathan Hay being interviewed on there about Johnny Depp, and he came out with some rather shocking allegations about some behaviour between Johnny Depp and potentially his nephew, I believe it was, which were quite I think a shock to a lot of people. They certainly were to me. So I thought I'd use my tarot cards to have a little bit of a look at the Johnny Depp energy and situation. Now, it's very delicate when reading for somebody whose permission I don't have. And the last thing I would want to do at any time with a reading like this is to divulge personal details. So it will be an overview of the energies around him. And if I sensed anything or had any intuitive insight into specific incidents, particularly involving minors, then I wouldn't share those with you. So just to let you know. And also I should add that this is for entertainment purposes only. Anything that I say is not necessarily my opinion. I am literally just interpreting the tarot cards as they fall. So just bear that in mind as I'm going through the reading. With that being said, I'm going to lay out a Celtic cross spread focusing on Johnny Depp. So I'm just shuffling the cards now and I'm focusing on Johnny Depp, particularly with light to the allegations that I've recently heard from Jonathan Hay being interviewed. So I'm just shuffling the cards here while trying to talk and focus on that question. So multitasking mentally here. So just bear with me while I get this sorted and get myself focused. Now what I'll do, I can't remember if I've just said this, is I'll put a photograph of this spread on the screen so you can follow along with how I'm reading it, which is easier than me doing like a split screen thing because I don't have the technology skills to know how to do that successfully, and I have tried and I messed up my computer settings for like a week afterwards. So I'm just going to do it this way. And just bear with me while I lay these out. And then we'll move into the interpretation. Right. So my initial two cards, very interesting. That is the Eight of Swords reversed and the Ace of Cups. So I'm looking at this as the heart of the matter, and the heart of the matter seems to be this particular individual, Depp, breaking away from a prison that was imposed on him. It feels like he was constrained, he felt stuck, he felt that he was in a prison, there were things enforced upon him, and it was emotionally stunting, so it prevented him emotionally getting a start in life, if that makes sense. It feels like he was emotionally, if you look at the card, you can see quite clearly it's a woman with a blindfold on and she's restrained by swords. So it's like he is being held back, he is being held under somebody's thumb, he is being oppressed, he is being almost like it's a sense of emotionally tortured, and it's stunting that ability to get that start in life emotionally, to actually begin to develop on an emotional level. So it speaks of a darker sort of childhood influence, I think, that is underlying this and this whole issue. It feels like there's that feeling that it really came from an earlier event where things were enforced upon this individual. So that's really interesting. Moving on to the sort of underlying issues. So I've got here the Five of Wands reversed. So it's somebody who's losing a battle, somebody who's really struggling. So this is the issue that's sort of it's something that's been repeating throughout this individual's life. So it feels like they've constantly felt they've had to battle for things, or they've had an internal battle or internal struggle. And if you look at these people, you can see that they're almost fighting with these wands, and it feels very stuck. This energy feels, because this is reversed, it's like it's it's like there's lots of competition and it's a struggle all the time, and it's also stuck. It's a repeating pattern. So it feels like Depp keeps struggling to leave something behind, struggling to battle through something, but it sort of keeps returning and keeps returning. So that's an interesting move from this earlier sort of being constrained and being emotionally almost held back, emotionally oppressed, restricted, with a constant battle going on and a constant struggle, which feels like a repeating pattern. So it's like these early patterns from childhood, all these behavior patterns. It can be battles with addiction because it is this internal battle. It feels like it keeps returning. So that's an underlying issue. Now, interesting card to come out in a Depp reading is the Fool, because obviously there's association with Captain Jack Sparrow. This Fool reversed is like, this is the overarching sort of broad way that Johnny Depp goes through all these issues and lives through life. The Fool reversed is somebody who is almost reckless and is constantly looking for new adventure, but sort of running into it and falling off the precipice at the other side. It's like he grabs onto everything new, and it's the newness, it's the challenge, it's the ability to take on board new things and to have adventures with novel, exciting things. But it's like it's done with too much haste. It's rushed into. This is an impulsive man who literally tries to sort of do new things all the time, wants to sample new things, wants to experience new things, wants to live his life in different ways, sort of grabs onto different ways of doing things, and yet it seems to cause him problems because sometimes he doesn't think things through. And this repeating struggle in his background is associated, it's connected with this, and it sort of keeps coming back between the jumping onto new things, falling back onto the struggle, jumping onto something else, falling back into the struggle again. So that's a real repeating pattern of behavior. Now, what I've got for I'm now looking at from now moving forward, and these issues that we've had along with this Jonathan Hay accusation, this allegation, allegedly allegation. So we say it. The Nine of Wands reversed is very often, we can call this the wounded soldier card, because it's indicating somebody who's been through a lot, and this will be these battles and this impulsive behavior, not to mention this childhood oppression and constraint which stop the emotional development. So it's like he's tired. He is tired, and he feels like he's been put through the ringer. He feels like at every opportunity there are obstacles, and it feels like he's really quite tired of this. He's tired of it, and he doesn't have any more gas in the tank to fight. It's like he'd rather ignore it. He'd rather turn the other way and retreat behind the barriers. So it's almost like him pulling himself into isolation in order to get away from the friction that's around him, and then moving across the spread, looking at the sort of near future. This is coming up with the Queen of Wands reversed. Yes, she was reversed. So this is a card, interestingly, that comes up with a lot of deceit or jealousy, can be interpreted as such. It's a real reversal of energy. So it's like this is a situation that, from Depp's point of view, is taking it out of him again. It's kicking the stuffing out of him again. It's got the potential to cause problems, opposition, and it's felt like it's coming from a position of jealousy, to give you to read the cards directly. I'm not seeing anything here that indicates that there is a problem as such with the allegation that has been made. I'm not seeing that allegation playing out as a true fact in this spread so far. And this card is saying that there is an element of jealousy, of rivalry, of deceit here. I'm just going to put a clarifier out for that card, because I'm interested to know whether that is indicative of Johnny Depp himself, or perhaps Jonathan Hay. I don't know. Okay, that's interesting. So we've got the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands and the Tower reversed. So these three cards here are really interesting because this indicates a partnership with the King and Queen of Wands, and it's like one of the partners is deceiving and one of them is stronger, and it feels like the Tower card reversed has been, this is about a calamitous event in the past, which was, it caused a lot of problems, but it didn't sort of materialize as such. Let me just have another clarifier card here. Yeah, it feels like there was something went wrong in the past, okay, but it's stuck in the past, but it's also causing this sense of emotional fragmentation and almost like an inability to move on. So it feels like there has been an event which occurred, and it is a partnership as such. So it's between either two spouses or two family members, and one of them is deceiving, one of them is the instigator, and one of them is very much a powerful figure, but they've had their power taken from them a little bit by the event. So it feels like they've been almost overshadowed by this event that's occurred between these two people. So that's very interesting. Now, because that comes out as the Tower reversed and then leading into the Eight of Pentacles, it's something where lessons have been learned from, and I'm reading this as the Tower reversed, as it's the worst case scenario that we can imagine. This is not the case with this. So it's like it's a way of almost a card saying, okay, that worst thing that was in your head about what that event could have been, it's not that, okay? There is something else. There is some other beef going on here, some other issue that has caused this upset within that closer family unit. That lessons have been learned from it, and the people were able to move on from it and avoid the worst possible consequences. So I'm just putting these cards back down in the right order so that I can photograph them all and put them onto the recording later so you can have a look at them. Right, moving on further on. This is where the focus of the reading, so the focus of the reading being Johnny Depp, really, this is where he sees himself at the moment. And the Hermit is a card of self-isolation for sure, but he's also a spiritual leader. And what the Hermit is doing is he is withdrawing. He is going through a period of self-reflection, introspection, self-examination, and trying to illuminate a new path. So if you have a look on the Hermit card, he is holding a lamp, and what he's doing is he's illuminating the future path. So it feels very much, again, this is a card that links with the Nine of Wands reversed here, because it feels like Depp is withdrawing from the public as this sense of like, I am battle tired and sick of this hassle and sick of being dragged over the coals with allegations and things like that. So it feels like he's withdrawing, but he's withdrawing and not seething. He's not feeling bitter. He's going within to learn, and it could be a sense of self-improvement. And I'm just looking at the next card, which really does make sense now. So this sense of going within in order to find a new path forward, in order to enlighten, to light up the way forward. And then we've got moving on. This is the environment around this situation, and I see the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a lovely card, actually. It indicates moving away from troubles. So I'm looking at these two cards and I'm seeing somebody who's withdrawing from the mainstream in order to address some issues within and then move forward. So it's like recent troubles have really sort of become a tipping point. It's like the straw that's broke the camel's back in this respect, and so there's had to be this withdrawing in order to move forward. And I see somebody who's going to materialize as a better human being after this period of self-reflection, because they're able to move away from this negativity and to sort of reach a new phase of life, I would say. So this is a really interesting card, because it's swords is conflict as well often. So it's like there's having to be this withdrawal to move away from this conflict. So I don't think we're going to see Depp react in public to these particular allegations, or any allegations in fact at the moment, because it feels like he's just tired of it all, and he knows that to react is to feed the fire. Do remember, this isn't necessarily my opinion here, and I always do my best not to read from my opinion, because then what's the point? I might as well just sit here and waffle on, and expect everybody to believe me. I'm reading the cards, so this is not necessarily my view, but it is the cards, and this is why I put the photograph up of the cards on the reading for you to look at. And you can look through all the tarot books and you can see that I'm actually reading the cards here. So I'm reading the meanings. Yes, I do use intuition to link the two of the cards together, especially when using clarifiers, but that's that narrative that you put into the reading in order to make sense of it. But the general meanings of the cards, you'll see that I'm not making it up, basically. Right, moving on, we've got the this is a position in the tarot which is called the hopes and fears, and interestingly, it's the hopes and fears in this spread of the Hierophant reversed. The Hierophant indicates non-conformity. So this says to me that this individual is feeling destabilized and worries that are they at a time in their life where they're having to conform. They fear this. This is their worst nightmare, is being this organized, standard, structured sort of individual who becomes very what is the word for it? When something's unconventional, I suppose it's conventional, isn't it? So it's becoming conventional terrifies this man, and he'd rather almost, die than be that person. It's like that is no life for him, because the way he wants to be seen and the way he wants to, his hope for life is to live this alternative path, to live on this alternative path, and to live life differently, and to be able to do the things that he wants without the intense negative judgment all the time, and without the allegations. I mean, I know that's pretty obvious because nobody wants to live in that type of environment, but it's really coming out clearly here, and especially when we consider the final card, which is your outcome card, which is the Magician. Now, the Magician's such a clear indication that this isn't a man who's going to go down without a fight either. So he might have withdrawn in order to leave his troubles behind, but he is going to come back stronger, and he is going to almost it's reinvent his image. So the Magician has all the resources at his hands. He has them all at his fingertips. He can manipulate. He is literally like the Magician. He can put everything in a hat and pull out a rabbit. He can change the path of things. He can change his image. He can change how people perceive him. And if you see his arms are one up, one down, that's as above, so below. And it means that, whatever magic he's working, he's affecting the physical world with the internal workings of the Magician. So this means that Depp is a manipulator, but it's not coming out that he's a manipulator for a negative reason. It's coming out that he wants to maintain this alternative, unorthodox, sort of nonconformist way of being and way of living, and he's going to do whatever he has to do in order to be able to continue living like that. And if that means that he has to withdraw for even more time in order to sort of maintain his sanity, then that's something that he feels empowered to do, and something that he will do in order to regroup. So all in all, looking at the spread, I'm just going to look at the associations one more time between the cards here and do some card counting potentially. So if you just bear with me. So I'm looking at there's a lot of disrupted energy here. There is, interestingly, there is only one cup here, which was one of the first cards, which was talking about the thing that sort of underpins all this, which is this restriction, oppression, bad treatment that happened way back, which has stopped the emotional development of this person, leading to this battle that's followed them throughout life and led to their impulsive behavior, feeling like a wounded soldier, feeling battle tired. And then we go on to what's happened recently. So I am seeing that King and Queen of Wands, I am reading to be this, which we, you know, either close friends or the family tie, Johnny, nephew, something like that. One of them is in the wrong here, and it's the Queen, and one of them is the stronger, who is then being affected by the Tower event, which has played out, and the subsequent sort of fallout from that. So I'm not reading into this. I'm not seeing in this reading that there is anything like dark around Johnny Depp. I'm really not. I'm seeing that he has certainly gone through a lot, which has led to repeated patterns of behavior that have been problematic for him, but he's withdrawing now to come back stronger, and even perhaps to come back sort of rebuilt from the foundations up. I hope that was interesting to you. If you enjoyed that and you'd like to see more, then please subscribe to my channel, because I'd like to do a lot more too. And have a fabulous day, whatever you're doing, and stay weird.